Jared Leto.
Jared Leto's in this?
He's the vampire. He's the vamps.
He's the Vamps?
He's the vamps.
My name's Oscar.
My name is Carl, and this is Who Would Watch This?
Welcome to Who Would Watch This, the podcast where we watch a film, chat about the film, and then try and figure out who would watch this.
Today we're talking about Morbius, which currently has a 1.9 on Letterboxd, a 5.1 on IMDb, and an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oscar, what's the plot?
Biochemist Michael Morbius tries to cure himself of a rare blood disease, but he inadvertently infects himself with a form of vampirism instead. It's happened to the best of us. We've all done it.
He's a bit of an idiot, isn't he? Like, if you're like, oh, you know what's going to cure all the blood issues in my body? The blood of a vampire bat.
Yeah.
Buddy, it's in the fucking name of the nocturnal animal.
Oh, exactly. It's like infecting yourself with like a killer whale, or a sperm
You'll be
whale.
a killer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or you'd be a piece of sperm.
Absolutely. You know, a friend of mine did that. Ejaculation everywhere.
Oh,
All over me.
goodness.
I was the
Sperm
killer whale. Oh, Oscar, did we go back in time to before we'd seen the film and we tried to figure out who would watch this?
Let's go back to literally 2 hours ago.
That's right. We're fresh from the cinema. The movie's leaving my brain, so I'm excited to see what we said moments before rushing out of the door.
We were
because
happy.
I thought it started at 6:20. It started at 6:10.
Yeah, we ran.
We ran. We verberated off of buses and trains to get there on time. And we still couldn't. No, we got there.
We got there.
We got there.
Here's the thing about this podcast. We're good at time management.
Absolutely.
And I think there's no joke there.
We're good at reading comedic beats.
Well, hang on. Let's not up ourselves. There's no... We can
We're
hit it.
great at improv.
Yeah. Throw it back to me now.
No.
Carl, we've got to do real quickly. Morbius. It's another Marvel film, but it's not a Marvel film. It's a Sony Marvel film. We've done Venom. We love Venom. We love Venom 2. Are we going to love Morbius?
Oh, I'm going to say from the initial reactions everybody has said about it, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You don't get like a 10% on Metacritic, a 5 on IMDb, and it's not an absolute banger.
I think considering how good the marketing is, they've done a great job at making me think the movie's called Mobius.
Yeah.
Because that's what I keep telling people we were watching today, and they were confused.
Yeah, they were like a Mobius strip, and I laughed because, here's the thing, we love maths jokes here.
They're like, do you mean Morpheus? From Matrix Resurrections?
Yeah.
That's right, he's famous for that one now,
He is,
not
yeah.
the other three.
No, exactly. Here's the thing, the first 3 fell off. That new one, oh, it's good.
Thank God Matrix Resurrection hit. Because that's all we're referencing today.
Here's the thing, we need to remind ourselves in 2 hours' time, watch The Matrix instead. Then have...
Come back and dive deep into the Matrix Resurrections.
Here's the thing, flawless.
It's nearly double the length of Morbius. The only reason we're doing it is 1, bad reviews, 2, about an hour 40.
And we love to jump on a hate train. It's very easy.
Is it, was somebody bashing that online? Be a shame if 2 people came along and fucking kicked it while it was down.
That's right. We're kind of like the tsunami. If people go, holy shit, who would watch those boys who got into it? You know it's roadkill.
It's really fun because I love when we jump on the hate train because we're usually 2 weeks late and completely irrelevant.
Here's the thing, that new Sia film, sucks.
Oh, people loved our review of music.
Who do we think Morbius is for? Hit me. Who'd watch Morbius?
Does Jared Leto have fans?
He will soon, in moments.
This is what breaks it down.
Here's the thing, I was on the fence. Now I'm very much in the greener field.
You loved him in the House of Gucci. You loved him in Suicide Squad.
You loved him in his small cameo in Fight Club. That's why people go to Fight Club.
You loved him in all of it. It's funny that he does these types of films when I think he considers himself a very serious actor. He's like, oh, I'm a method actor. I will sign up to the worst script.
Yeah.
As for who do I think it's for?
I'm hoping it's for us. I hope it's another Venom. That'd be really nice. I hope it's loads of gay undertones. I hope there's a symbiote that he can just jump right into. I hope the vampire teeth just claws into it.
I hope there's a lot of gay subtext,
Yeah.
because that's what genuinely holds up those Venom films. Without that, I'm not interested
Yeah.
in Morbius.
If this is a straight flick, I'm out.
Oh my god, absolutely. If I recall, I believe the poster is Jared Leto making out with a vampire.
Yeah.
So,
Full throttle, just real in there deep.
because it's for me. Full throttle, you say?
Yeah.
Like a Charlie's Angels?
Yes.
Ah.
This is Charles Angels 3.
Did you say
Morbius
Charles?
Yeah, it's a male one.
The males were like, we
It's
haven't
an
got
all-
enough franchises.
It's an all-male remake of
Charlie's Angels.
Charles
Angels.
Yeah.
It's already a man's name as well. It's Charlie's.
People, they wanted any confusion. They're like, no, it's Charles. Prince Charles is starring this one.
I don't know. I feel like it's going to be for fans of like...
Morbius.
If you've ever read a Morbius comic, I guess this is for you. It does seem like one of those movies that Sony kind of shat out. So if you're a fan of them,
This is for you.
open up your wallets, open up your legs, because Morbius is about to inseminate you.
Carl, we're back from the cinema. It's been a wild roller coaster. We both are broken. A little bit. It was longer than it promised, of an hour 40. There's a single tear rolling down your cheek.
Oscar, I did not like this film. I mean, I shall say it right now.
I don't know what... Here's the thing. We walked in. There was awful reviews and no one liked it. How could we be so wrong?
Oh my god, who would have thought? I think the seriousness of the matter really hit me when we walked into that giant fucking cinema and realized there were 3 people in there, all together down the far front, and they turned around to us like, oh, bummer, we won't have the cinema to ourselves to enjoy Morbius. And I was like, hey, you're going to enjoy it a lot more now that we're sitting up the back.
Don't worry, we'll be heckling from the front, taking loud notes. I've got a cigar. I'm just going to make it my cinema.
Call that how to use crutches? You've never broken an ankle, Jared.
Shall we jump into the plot of Morbius?
What fucking plot? What do you want to recap? I don't even know where to begin. This movie, in terms of its chronological order, begins now, goes back 25 years later, then doesn't tell you when the timelines have reconverged again.
No.
So you're just like, wait, has the beginning scene happened?
I have no idea. We'll discuss the start scene because
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just on the cutting floor. They were like, chuck that for the start, really get the tone set up right.
Really, they're like, I don't think people are going to want to see ill kids dying in a hospital for the beginning of this Marvel-esque picture.
Imagine that, just like off like the like fun quippiness of like Endgame and all that sort of stuff, and immediately into like a hospice for children.
It just seemed like it was like, without them doing this big elaborate scene in Puerto Rico at the beginning of the film, it's just like, cool, you've come for the first 15 minutes of The Fault in Our Stars. Like,
And there's no Make-A-Wish right now.
like, oh, so they land on the edge of a cliff.
Yes.
In a giant helicopter. The pilot goes, we shouldn't be here. Hops out of the helicopter, willingly is like, I wouldn't go into that cave.
Jared
Gets
Leto.
nice and close to the cave.
Jared Leto, he's got crutches. I mean, it's strange because he kind of hobbles around to the cave. He sets up, I can only assume, a portal or a cage. I'm not really sure what it is.
No, he sets up lines.
Yeah, he sets up a harp.
That's what it looked like,
It's what-
though.
yeah.
Like, he was like, oh, we're safe. I'm gonna lull these fucking
I'm gonna
bats to
serenade
sleep."
these bats, and I swear to God, it's gonna be gorgeous. What? And then
I would have loved it if he slowly unbuttoned his shirt, does one of those like stoic side looks to the 5 like mercenaries behind him, and is like, "You can stay and watch if you want, or you can leave. I've paid you," and just removes that shirt, lines up his bosom against the edge of that harp-esque thing, and is like, boom, 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 boom.
he plays like the what's it called, the back in time music we play.
And I think what it should be is the 4 mercenaries go to hop back into the helicopter, and once he starts playing and proves he's good at the harp, they turn around
And they
stay and listen.
They stay for the show. It changes them. They go, none of this mercenary work anymore.
I'm gonna say right now, I've kind of created a pretty emotional entry into the film. I don't know why they haven't done this.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're listening to this, you're going, fuck, I should get a ticket.
Because here's the thing. It's not a harp.
No.
So don't go in expecting a harp.
No.
But it is a harp. So probably expect that.
Now, if you're thinking, where the fuck are we? Where, what, why, when? Don't worry, we're in Spain in a hospital for children.
We were in Spain?
I don't know where we were.
I assumed London because they were all British.
No, it looks very nice outside, so it definitely wasn't London.
I thought, well, maybe it was France because there's a part where that guy runs in with a baguette.
Yeah.
And you know that baguettes are only used to localize where something's taking place in a film.
Exactly. It's pretty much just like, oh god, we're in Germany.
He's
Yuck.
like, he's like, oh my god, is a cripple getting hurt? Takes out his baguette like a sword and just
then
starts whacking everyone.
mimes everything. Anyway, let's we get introduced to Morbius and Milo.
Yeah.
His name isn't Milo.
Morbius, I wasn't sure what the go was here. I thought it was kind of rude. I feel like Morbius's vibe was like, oh, every kid that's been next to me's died, so I don't bother to learn their names. So I'm going to name you after my favorite thing to add to milk.
Yeah. Here's the thing, he's sponsored. And the kid's got to make some money somehow.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say this character's name is Milo, because I reckon in the original script, it was originally a dog. And they accidentally, when making the film, cast Matt Smith.
It happens all the time.
Really, they must have been very embarrassed and were like, we'll have to make him a character instead of that dog.
The script was just woof woof. They're like, fuck, all right, let's give him some other lines. And it blended so well, the script.
It's true, and sometimes they forgot to rewrite those lines. But Matt Smith's a professional.
God, he nailed it.
He's so good when he goes...
That monologue of woofing, oh my god, a tear to my heart.
You think I was sick in that bed all by myself, woof woof?
Let's establish this. Morbius.
Good.
Good. Milo.
Bad.
Bad.
Both of them at the moment, sick.
Sick. Milo suddenly starts dying. Morbius knows, all right, he's stuck to an IV.
I forgot about this. This is the dumbest fucking thing. Oh, I hated this film.
He's
Go on.
stuck to like an IV machine and it's like failing. So Morbius is like, don't worry, I'll open it up. I got a ballpoint pen spring, put it in there, fixes it. Not sure how this happens. He's immediately sent to his mentor. He's like, you know, we had 40 doctors working on that machine, couldn't figure it out, and a child with a ballpoint. You, sir, are gonna be a star.
You did it with a spring, and then unravels the spring. Like, I think it would have been more fun if he hailed the spring as the hero, and is like, we're sending the spring to a school.
Full scholarship. And you know what? He's gonna come back every year and prove to you orphans that it can be done.
I think it would have been fun if the spring was the villain in the film, because it was constantly overshadowed by Morbius. Like, when they're like, Morbius, step up and accept your Nobel Peace Prize, and the spring's just wailing in the audience, just like,
One day I'll get that Morbius fucker.
I think it'd be fun if he had such an addictions that, like, you know, when he goes for some solace, he sits in the park and he looks at all the pigeons and he just throws them little springs to eat instead of breadcrumbs.
They choke, but then by choking, they fix themselves. That's how good of a Morbius
The
fan.
mentor comes by and they're like, we've had 40 people trying to fix that pigeon.
The doctors couldn't do it. They kept stepping on them. But you've got the spring.
It's another one, Dad. Have you tried feeding them 30 springs? I love that. Try and throw a pigeon at the ground now. Just bounces.
Here's the thing. It's got a pep in its step. That's alive to me.
It's dead, but it bounces. Anyway, give it to those kids over there. They can't afford a basketball. They play a 40-minute game of basketball with this pigeon. I kid you not. I kid you not. Morbius, what a film.
Okay. Structurally, I think the first 40 minutes is a bad film.
Yeah.
But technically could just like finish there. The last 40 minutes feels like 14 deleted scenes they've cobbled together for the end scene. But we'll go through it. Morbius is an old man now. It's meant to be like 30, but like I don't really get it. He's a cripple. So is Matt Smith. They're trying to figure out a way to fix the disease they all have.
Yeah, they've got like a blood disease.
Yeah.
There's a scene where it's kind of so it's revealed that Jared Leto did not accept the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And is like sitting next to a young girl who I think is supposed to be the type of like the surrogate of like who he wants to save.
Yeah.
Though, because she keeps popping up until she's not in the film anymore.
Yeah.
And I just thought, if she's that sick, why not give her a spring?
Yeah. Shove a spring down in her chest. Back to life. She got a spring in her step. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's a section where Jared Leto and Matt Smith hobble through New York. It seemed offensive. Like, I don't think it seemed
Here's the
okay.
thing. It's that classic line of, like, you're a highbrow actor. If you want to play a disabled person, it's a risk. And when you see a bunch of New Yorkers making way for Matt Smith and Jared Leto hobbling down the streets, but chatting pretty casually, just like, we gotta fix this blood disease we both got.
It's quite a sight. To the point that when I saw that shot, I went, this won't be good. this cannot be a good film because I'm uncomfortable and I'm a man that knows how to handle this. But if a 11-year-old saw this, I'm sure he'd be like, I don't know if this is the vampire movie I want.
Imagine that, just like, man, Twilight was way better. They didn't hobble.
They don't even glitter in this one. What the fuck?
No, it's pretty ridiculous.
So much spring movement.
Ah, God, it's awful.
You know, they would have traveled a lot quicker through New York had they bounced on springs.
That's the thing. You get the subway, you get the spring, you're in downtown Manhattan.
Oh, you know, I'm looking at going to New York soon. You got to get your spring cards. The easiest way to hop around.
Yeah.
Spring around. We'll put a little spring in your step as its
You know what the good
tagline.
thing about the spring bit is? I think it's going to bounce around the podcast. It's going to be sprinkled around.
If there's anything you know about us, it's we will do a bit until it's absolutely dead, so that when it's brought back for a final 40th time,
It's bring back to life.
It hits. It's brought back to life, much like that kid in the film. No, she dies.
So Jared Leto's like, right, I've got really infinite money, it seems, because I think he invented fake blood.
I thought it seemed like Matt Smith was like a...
He was funding it. I don't know why Morbius doesn't have a lot of money.
Why is Matt Smith rich? Because he was... I assumed...
It's never established, and Jared Leto's invented fake blood. I feel like he should have the money.
I was a little confused. I kind of thought the children's hospital at the beginning was like an orphanage for sick kids.
Yeah.
So why would Matt Smith have an inheritance or something?
I don't know. I don't know how he's this rich. But he has a lot of money. Morbius sort of has the money, but is relying on Matt Smith for a lot of money.
I think it would have been a much better MO for Matt Smith's character if he was bitter that all he used was a spring to fix that machine.
Yeah.
I almost
That
feel...
was him inventing fake blood. All it took was a single spring in that machine. It just multiplied blood.
The spring thing to me is almost to the point that he needed to use his pen and it didn't have a spring. So he took a spring out of the IV machine, put it in his pen. When the kid started to flatline, went, I should put the spring back.
It's a classic take the spring, put the spring back in. We've all done it. It's embarrassing.
He's essentially hustled an orphanage of sick children. It's incredibly offensive.
He's pretty much switched off the IV machine, and the guy's going, oh, fuck. He's gone, put it back on. Help the kid, didn't
Jared Harris is like, we're going to get you out of here, and we're going to give you a full scholarship. And as the kid's walking away, it's like, a little less conversation, a little more action, please. Like
The Ocean's 11, the orphanage. Walks out with Matt Smith's inheritance. That fucking idiot.
It would be fun to see that kid just looking at fireworks for ages, being like, "Look at what I've accomplished."
God,
because I, as an audience member watching that 15 minutes into a movie, would be like, "This is wild. Where are we going?"
Jared Leto has got time on his hand. He's like, you know what? I think the bats, I guess from the start of the film, are the way to fix his blood disease. Not sure how that happens, but the bats have something. I think the bats have a coagulant in their blood that stops the thing. They explain it in a sentence, so it's pretty tight
I don't
science.
think they explain it in a sentence.
I
don't think they explain it at all.
They give something.
No, yeah, they give something which is human DNA, and then there's these little things on the screen that come along that just say bat, and it clings into the DNA, and they're like, I found the cure. So they then have to go into international waters.
Yes.
And I think when they're on the boat, this is meant to be the scene that follows the cave scene.
Yes.
But they don't tell us that. I was confused because he just suddenly turns into a vampire, and I went, oh. So he hasn't gone to the cave yet.
No.
The cave must be at the end when he's trying to turn himself back from being a vampire.
It would make sense as well because like the whole thing is the mercenaries are kind of like a thing, and the mercenaries at the start and they're in the boat and they're never touched again. It does make sense. I guess in fairness, imagine the note of like, let's not open on the dead orphanage, okay?
That's what I think it is. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony came out and went, our apologies. We accidentally put this film in cinemas with a random scene at the front that does not play into the film. We're sorry. It is meant to begin with the orphanage. Please, cinemas, fast forward to that bit. You'll know when you see it. It's depressing.
So they're on the boat. Jared Leto injects himself with bat blood.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of mercenaries on the boat protecting him. He's got his friend who's a doctor.
This is
the definition of like a one-dimensional woman. It's a woman.
Oh, yeah. Looking at what these other movies these writers have written, I don't think these people care about female characters.
No, this film doesn't.
No.
She's knocked unconscious immediately.
Yeah.
She doesn't return for the rest of the film.
No.
She's kind of there if they need another scientist in the room.
It's really weird that they're like, look at her, she's a smart female and she's going to be going places. And then the 20 minutes into the film, they're like, unfortunately, she is in a coma. She will be in a coma until we say that she's not in a coma anymore towards the end of the film.
That's what we want. Jared Leto fucks up his boat. He kills all the mercenaries. He knocks her unconscious. And then he wakes up. He's like, oh, who did this?
He's like, oh my, what's going on here? I'll have a look at the video cameras.
Yeah.
He looks at what he's done. He throws up immediately.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, he should have been like a dog drinking that back up because that's good blood he's just drinking.
That's good blood. That's the thing.
Wouldn't he be super plump if he had just drunk like... Because they're like...
He'd be red in the face.
They're like
an alcoholic.
20 people, they say, all the blood's been drained from them. How many liters of blood's in the body?
I mean, on average, 30 liters.
This guy's had 600 liters of blood?
Yeah.
He'd be pissing for days!
I wanted to see Jared Leto inflated to an enormous side full of blood. That would have been a better film.
You know what he should look like? The blueberry girl in Willy Wonka.
He should.
How good would it be if the Oompa Loompas came out and they were like, you got greedy, Morbius! Loompa doompa-dee-doo.
We have a fun song for the vampires. It would be funny him waking up as a blueberry going, who's done this? Who drank the blood of all these men?
As red as a raspberry, though, so that the captain has to come down with a little flute and goes... Take him to the juicery and squeeze him until all the blood's come out.
He does. We love it. In the cinema, it was like the first big laugh. Essentially, the boat's a big wide, and you see this tiny little silhouette jump. Morbius is
Where's
like,
he off to? And
Morbius is like, and it shows, hey, by the way, this boat's really fucked. I may have killed someone. And then you just see him cut, and it's this tiny little black silhouette jumping off the boat. He's like,
He's like, National Guard, come to the boat. He flees from it. But it's international waters.
He says he's 13 miles from the coast. He doesn't know he can fly yet.
Yeah.
And he's full of blood. He's way down. Blood's a heavy.
Oh my god, he should sink to
Blood
the
is
bottom
thick in
of
the
ocean.
water. That man should be dragged down.
It would be fun if he was like interested in non-human blood. Like if by the time he got to shore he'd consumed a humpback whale.
Yeah.
Like-
He's like, this ocean floor stuff is great.
The rest of the movie's set on the ocean floor. Just him slurping blood out of starfish. It would be fun if it was, the story of just a gluttonous man consuming all he saw.
That's what Marvel needs, just like a fable.
When's the last time Marvel did a fable? I want to learn something at the end. It wasn't good to be greedy when it came to the human's blood source supply.
That's what we gotta do.
It's like Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
Don't.
You see a big chocolate cookie house, have a nibble, and then walk away.
I don't know how he gets back to land, but he's bone fucking dry.
bone dry.
But before we get there, a pretty famous person's introduced. It's the Gibbs. It's the Gibbs. It's Tyrese Gibson.
He is a detective with another friend. They're the comic relief.
I don't know if the Gibbs is the comic relief.
Listen, every scene he lights up a scene.
Sure.
We should say this. The film's like out right now. We're kind of like getting like there's a I feel bad for him. There's like a fake thing going around with Martin Scorsese where he's like, I love the film. And then the Gibbs is like, you know what, guys? We fucking did it. Fast and Furious never did it for him, but Morbius is his cup of tea.
Oh, God. The Gibbs. I think he's somebody that you would just never believe's a detective. Like, you just see...
He walks in, he's like, I just got back from Iraq. And you're like, well, you've lived a life.
I actually think Tyrese Gibson's one of the fun high points of those Fast and Furious films.
Yeah.
He's having a ball. He's doing a good job of them.
In that new one, he's like, this is ridiculous.
Oh, his job's usually to point out that the movie's ridiculous through the film.
Yeah.
And I think he's actually a really good vocal point for that. Him being a stoic detective chasing a vampire...
Looking in the mirror going, this is the direction the film's going. I'm playing this serious.
It's just you walk in and it's like, you've got Jared Leto in your film. Why would you hire the Gibbs to overshadow him?
Any film you get the Gibbs in, that's the Gibbs film.
Oh, absolutely. Could name you a multitude of Gibbs films. I won't.
No, you should.
But I could,
Yeah.
and I want you to know
Here's the
that.
thing. If we mention the Gibbs films, then this podcast becomes a Gibbs podcast.
It's true. Honestly, every week we're this close to becoming a Gibbs podcast.
He keeps rattling on the door. He's like, come on, guys, let in.
I've got a whole filmography you've never tapped into. Come on, I'm the Gibbs.
No one's ever tapped into the Gibbs filmography.
Anyway, so the Gibbs is now in the film. He's looking for Jared Leto. Jared Leto he's waltzed back from his expedition. Doesn't tell anyone he's back.
Yeah.
Just goes down into his little lair. Then there's like a montage of him discovering his powers.
Yeah. He's working out the rules. One,
Yeah.
he's got like sonar hearing. Not sure how it works. I think it's like a spidey sense. 2, he can jump around or he can pretty much fly.
I don't get it. I don't get why is it fluffy when he jumps on things?
I think he can ride the wind. Because vampires can ride the wind.
Is that what it's saying though?
I think so.
But
because there's an establishing scene of him like almost getting flown off the roof, and the wind is like very visible. So I think the wind is what he uses.
But it's like
I think
at
like
the
a bat.
end when a girl's laying completely still, red fluff is coming off of her.
I don't know. I think it's an aesthetic choice that pretty much gets ruined when the second you introduce 1,000 bats. And we'll get to it.
I just don't get it.
No.
I genuinely, considering how much time they put into his powers, I do not understand A, what they are, B, why they are visually demonstrated to me like that.
Yeah.
Other than being like, if you actually take away the visual look of him riding on fluffy wind, there's really no money shots in the film.
No.
There's such low action.
There's not much action, is there?
There's not much action. There's not many set pieces.
No. We're in this lair about 5 times.
They get... This might as well be a fucking bottle episode.
Yeah.
He spent so much time in that lair being like, look at me bounce this ball. Uh-oh, I can hear where it bounces after I throw it.
He also learns that he's got like 6 hours until he needs to drink blood.
Yeah, so he created artificial blood.
Yeah.
And he realizes he can drink artificial blood, but after a certain amount of time, it's not going to be that nice for him to drink. It won't keep him from being a vampire.
It's pretty much like the Twilight thing. They eat animals because it's vegetarian. He's like a vegetarian vampire, not as strong as a strong vampire.
Yeah. And you know what's fun? Is they never overcome this.
No.
So at the end, you assume, he's off to eat people.
Yeah.
He's killed the villain, and now he's going to kill New York.
He's going to just consume. The message is not learned. I think being greedy is good.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's like Wall Street.
Yeah. You take away from that film, money is good.
Money is the color of greed.
Martin Scorsese always like shoves it down your neck.
Yeah.
That you should aspire for money.
Oh, absolutely. Morbius plays it more like an Oliver Stone picture.
Yeah.
Subtle. Yeah, so Matt Smith rocks up.
Yeah.
He sees that Jared Leto's about to turn.
Yeah.
Jared Leto is like, I've locked myself in here. You need to get me something. I'll write on the wall what I need.
Yeah, this fucker, he's like, I need blood. What does he use as a utensil? He goes, well, I've got a handful of blood. I'll write blood in the
blood.
writing. And not only do I have excess blood, I'm going to underline it so you really know I really need the blood.
I must say, also, we didn't mention that the artificial blood's like a light blue. I gotta tell you, they made the artificial blood look delicious.
Oh, God.
You know those little pouches
Yeah.
that you get? Oh my god, it made me want... If they sold those at the cinema with Morbius on them...
I wish Morbius was bigger as a here's the thing, it already is the biggest blockbuster
Oh,
of the year.
yeah.
But I hope it...
Eat your words, Batman. That's right. You have bats in them, but you don't have bats in it.
This would be a very funny thing to show someone like at 70 and go, this is the new Batman movie. And kind of shake them before they and throw them into the cinema.
They're like, oh yeah, I remember Milo.
Yeah.
He's like Robin, you know.
Yeah.
That's it. Milo Grayson.
Milo Grayson and Michael Morbius. That's the Batman I love.
I reckon I could get away with showing this to my dad and being like, this is the new Batman. He'd be like, huh. Wow, this is why I don't go to the cinema anymore, Carl. So Matt Smith is like, oh wow, you fixed the disease.
Yeah. Because Jared Leto is so buff, so well and fixed.
He's a hunk.
Matt Smith waltzes in with a cane. He's like, what did you do?
He's
And
unhunkable.
Yeah. He's a withering sack of shit.
Matt Smith enters. He's withered. Jared Leto stands to the left. He's hunkable.
Jared Leto pretty much like, you don't want this, bud. And Matt Smith's like, I desperately want that.
He's like, you don't want V-lines like this.
You don't want cum gutters going down to your groin. My cock's 5 inches bigger. But you don't want this, Matt Smith.
You don't want
this.
cheese graters like this. You wouldn't be able to handle the sex.
He doesn't even tell him that he's a vampire and he has to drink blood. He's just like, no, look at me. It's a curse. It's a curse.
So anyway, Matt Smith's like, I want those fucking cum gutters.
Yeah.
Steals the blood.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we don't know that, but I think it's pretty clear that he's definitely going to steal the blood.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. This movie is intensely predictable in every sort of way.
We're at like the 50-minute mark and it's like, well, there's no villain.
Yeah.
And we've learned that Morbius wants to be good.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, someone has to turn.
And frankly, this motherfucker's called Milo. So
He's an evil fucker.
everything points to Milo. So Morbius is like, look, I'm going to turn to drinking blood soon. I'm going to yeet out of the country.
Yeah.
He goes to escape. Tyrese Gibson's... The Gibbs rocks up.
Yep.
The Gibbs is like, oi, Morbs. Little Morbsy, come over here.
Yeah.
One of the fun things is Jared Leto, Morbius now has to still pretend to be...
Crippled.
crippled. So he pretends to be crippled.
Yeah. His abs on display. Tyrese is like, you're looking great. He's
Oh,
like,
it's so funny. They're like, you know, I've seen pictures of how sick you look online. You look pretty fucking hunkable right
you
now.
look like the hottest man I've ever seen, ever.
You're dripping.
Yeah.
Dripping with blood. You look like a murderer. You know what's weird? We're kind of looking for somebody that's dripping in blood, and look at you.
Yeah.
You're dripping in it.
They pretty much go, all right, it's Morbius, we need to arrest him. Morbius then flies up to the roof.
Where's the wind there then?
I don't know.
Because that shows fluff.
It does show fluff. I don't know. Here's the thing. The film doesn't fucking care because he flies to the top of the thing and then the Gibbs is on the roof already.
He's already up there.
I assume he's a vampire or just God.
He's got teleporting powers.
Yeah.
It's the Gibbs.
Yeah, that's the thing. Gibbs in any film has the ability to teleport.
Yeah, I believe that's an improv scene.
Yeah.
They just were like, okay, the camera's ready to go. What the fuck? Tyrese is here already? He's like, I'm the Gibbs.
I'm the Gibbs. In the scene, I'm the Gibbs. Jared Leto, let's go to jail.
Let's take you to jail. Jared Leto's already journaling in jail in a prison. And I'm like, have we time jumped?
It does
like
feel
a
long,
month?
doesn't it? Yeah.
It feels, he's like, I've been in jail 36 days. I'm running out of blood to drink. Like, it's just like...
I have 9 cellmates. They've all been drained. They
It's-
don't take a thing.
You know, it might not be him. It's just a coinky dink that now he's in this prison. Everyone's dead. He then gets like... He then gets interrogated.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't know who you are or what you've done, but we know you're pretty guilty. Before their very eyes, Morbius near turns into a vampire. So clearly the time of day, and they're just like, oof.
Flip of the coin.
Yeah, you're like, I guess we just don't know.
Yeah. He's like demanding blood, and they're like, well, listen, we'll jot that down, but it's not that important.
He's chain going, I will kill. I'm confessing, I will kill. I need blood. Lots of people will die. You need to believe me. And they're like, what game are you playing at?
God damn, he's so elusive, isn't he? Fuck. All right, you be good cop, I'll be bad cop.
But Gibbs is on the phone going, he's the smartest criminal we've ever met. I think it might be that spring boy that eluded me back in the day.
Matt Smith rocks up to jail. This is like the moment where you're like, oh, Matt Smith's a vampire too.
Matt Smith's a villain.
Yeah.
He hobbles in with a cane, but he leaves without the cane.
Yeah.
And they flat out do, I assume as an homage, but you're still just ripping it off. They just do the foot thing from the usual suspects.
He's crippled, and then he's like, now I'm walking a bit, and it's just like, but it holds it for a long time. It's like, did we blow your fucking minds? It's like, no, you didn't blow my minds. We're 50 minutes in, there's no villain. If it's the Gibbs that's a villain, and that's it.
There were two people that could have been the villain. The Gibbs, and it wasn't going to be the Gibbs, so it's fucking Milo, okay? My favorite thing is he goes by Milo, not his name.
No.
Has he legally changed it?
Well, that's the thing, because the big reveal at the end is like Matt Smith's is like, do you remember my name? And Morbius is a bit shaking. He's like, fuck, Libist?
Oh my god,
Lobit?
he's driving a knife into him and he's like, oh, bitch fingers McGee? I thought
Springo?
Milo was like an improvement.
Yeah. That's his, yeah, so that's, anyway, so we have a villain.
Yeah, we now have a
Jared
villain.
Leto's in jail. What are we gonna do? Here's the thing. Normally, like if like in a better film, it'd be like, fuck, he's in jail. He needs to think of maybe a spring to get him out.
Oh my god, wouldn't it be fun? He rolls a spring. Wouldn't it
Yeah.
be fun if he had rolled a spring between when the door closed, so it didn't just sprang back open again?
It sprang back open.
He's like, and I never leave home without my trusty spring.
Because Matt Smith, it seems like it's playing it as like Matt Smith's like, I got you in jail. I'm gonna wreak havoc. He gives him blood. Morbius smashes a wall. He's like, all right, I'm out. There's no stakes. You're
so
not
much
like,
of the time, it's like, how are they going to get out of this sequence? Usually, they just smash through the wall.
yeah,
They genuinely smash into the next scene.
yeah.
I genuinely, I would not be against this. Potentially, the director didn't understand what smash cut meant in a script form.
We smash cut the next scene. Fuck, okay, we've got like 6 of those. I don't think the wall budget's in there.
It's 75 million. How many walls do you want us to smash?
We're breaking the fourth wall here. It's fucking ridiculous. It's costing us a lot.
What do you think? We've got Hulk money? We haven't got Hulk money.
She-Hulk's filming next door. They got walls of fucking dead. Can we pinch some of their walls? Half of them are a bit destroyed. We'll patch it up.
What do you think? This is a Kool-Aid film? We don't have money for this many wall breaks.
The spring budget alone is costing a fucking fortune.
We had to buy them in the thousands. I'm now invested in them. Do you realize how much money I'm losing by the minute? Nothing uses springs anymore. Not even IV machines. The script lied to me.
This is where I think the film, it's just kind of scenes, and that's just a movie. But there's like no real like tangible plot. Like what is this?
Hard
like?
disagree. I think this is where the movie locks into gear and goes.
Like the Gibbs in Fast and Furious 5, we go to 5th gear.
Oh, what are we in? 7th gear? 8th gear? 9th gear? No, it's where the movie gets dull. The movie, I don't know what to talk about at this point.
No.
It's just Matt Smith being like, this is one of those things where I always really enjoy in movies when people are friends become villains.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's just, it's always a fun trope.
Yeah.
And I love seeing it done correctly in a film.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Smith has very little motive, but also no reason to dislike Jared Leto.
I'm convinced he wants to work together because he gets out of jail, but then they're kind of like, we're enemies now.
But I don't understand why. Matt Smith's like, I just want to kill. Like, he's excited about the fact that now he can kill.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, it's weird that we don't really get to see him actually enjoy not being like diseased anymore.
Yeah, I think he has like a throwaway line. Is like, we were injured our whole life, and they don't like take it for granted, but that's pretty weak.
Well, actually,
To kill.
it kind of gets to a point where they allure to the fact that maybe Morbius is just going to feed off the blood of villains.
Yeah.
But that's basically Matt Smith's idea anyway.
Yeah.
So they're just going to do the same thing. Matt Smith doesn't even need to be stopped.
Let's chat about Matt Smith and Jared Leto's performance.
Yeah.
I think Matt Smith is having fun.
He's good.
Yeah.
I actually quite like Matt Smith as an actor. I
Yeah.
usually enjoy him in most things I see him in.
Yeah.
Thought he was really good in was it Last Night in Soho?
Yeah.
Um,
I do like he's pretty much gone, I'm Doctor Who, which is a very wholesome, nice character. And I've only really seen him as villains now, and I think he nails a villain.
I think he's got a really, you know what he's got? He's got a really interesting, you know when actors have an interesting face, but can also do really, like lots of expression?
Yeah.
Like, I find Matt Smith so good at yelling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like...
Oh, and this last 40 minutes, they're yelling.
Oh, all he does is yell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I get why you cast him.
Yeah.
He's great at yelling.
Yeah, he's a great yeller.
He's a good yeller.
Jared Leto.
Like old yeller. We had to put him down.
We had to put him down. Spring to the face.
Spring to the heart.
Jared Leto, listen, he's had a bad year.
He's having an awful year. He's got his We Crashed television show on Apple TV that didn't great reviews.
Got a Razzie for...
House of Gucci.
Yeah.
You got...
I think he's just generally disliked. He's kind of getting shat on.
I think he's definitely overexposed. I always wondered, why do you reckon he ditched his music career and went, I'm full-on actor now?
I think it's more prestige. He's also... I don't think the band was like... No one's like, wow, that's like a top-tier band. It's kind of like a... I think it's well-known now because it's Jared Leto's band.
Well, I mean, I just think
I'll put
that's
some 30 Second Mars on, don't worry.
closer to the edge, please. I just think that he kind of had this trajectory of his career where he was like method actor, and if you kind of put his name behind a film, it was like a prestige film.
It was.
You know? Like, he's actually fantastic in Dallas Buyers Club. Deserved that Oscar. He could have gone anywhere with that. I remember when he was cast as the Joker, everybody went, he'll do an interesting performance.
Yeah, I remember because like the start of Heath, everyone was like, that gay guy from that cowboy film? No. And then Dallas Buyers Club's like, get that guy. Here's the thing, everyone learned. Everyone was powerful.
It's true.
Yeah, but the Joker, that film, that's just a big mess.
Yeah.
The weird things he did in that film, it's just a messy film anyway. But yeah.
I just think he's probably like a good boost of a supporting actor to grab. Like, I haven't seen House of Gucci. I get that people think that his performance is probably really caricature-y. I bet if I was to watch it, I would go, he's the only fun part of that very dull film.
Yeah.
That's what I think he's probably best used at, is like a good supporting jolt.
A character side actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's committed to doing the wacky stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they're like, he should be the main character of a vampire, like a $75 million vampire superhero film. And I don't understand why.
I'm surprised he took it as well.
That's what I
I feel like he's
think.
being burned from like the Joker. I feel like that was pretty vicious. Like pretty much gone, you're the worst Joker.
I just feel like he's working a lot at the moment. Do you reckon he's in money trouble? Yeah, he had The Little Things that wasn't very good. But then it was like he was doing like Blade Runner 2049 as that like interesting blind supporting character. You know, like it's weird. So since winning his Oscar, he's just done Suicide Squad, Blade Runner 2049, The Outsider, The Little Things, House of Gucci, and Morbius.
Damn, it must be suck to come back and then kind of just be shat on for a year.
Yeah. Like, I think he's the main character of Tron 3. So he's been cast as Andy Warhol in something in development. I feel like that's good casting.
Yeah, he actually will be.
He'd be a good Andy Warhol.
I think he's a good pretentious. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
Let's wrap this up because, again, this last 40 minutes drags. Matt Smith is evil. Morbius is good.
Yeah.
I don't really know what happens for this. They just sort of...
I can't tell you what's going on.
No.
I can't really tell you how the third act transpires.
No.
It does this weird thing where it's like Matt Smith kills the mentor, Jared Harris, and then while Jared Leto's mourning the loss of Jared Harris in his arms, he hears that Matt Smith's now killing Jared Leto's girlfriend.
The person's just woke up for a coma. She's back from the coma. Kill her. Not a single line of dialogue for that woman.
Yeah. she's literally woken up from her coma and a vampirist man's gone to his ear and gone, scream for him. It's like, oh my god, where am I?
Jesus Christ.
I preferred the world I created in the coma.
He kills her, and then they have a big CGI fight with all the wispy stuff in the background.
One of the worst edited,
Yeah.
directed, no clue what's going on. Like, I visually couldn't see. It's dark, clouded with all that, like, the wind visualization.
They do this strange thing where they're, like, in the New York skyline, it goes black and cut, and then they're in, like, I assume this massive underground sewer.
Yeah.
Visually, it gets much worse, because then Matt is about to win. Morbius is like, hey, I've got a bunch of bats just on call. I'll send them in, and it's a visually, like, they're both doing their wispy shit, and there's bats going everywhere. It's a visual nightmare.
Yeah.
I don't really know how he wins.
He gets a stake to the heart.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No, he gets, like, a potion that stopped. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's
know.
something.
I don't really get it.
No.
Do we think this is one of those movies that's like been butchered in editing, or do you reckon this was actually what was on the page? Because I do I surely it would have made more sense than this.
Yeah, because it kind of just like, because like you're kind of like, oh cool, they're two big bad boys. What are they gonna do? And then the third act just kind of is on hold until we can get to like a fight scene.
Yeah.
It's like I was very bored for this last bit.
It's one of those movies that looks like it kind of got made itself by the studio.
Yeah.
Like it's just glossy, nobody ever really gets dirty or bloodied. Nobody is ever not looking their best, really. The CGI is just really glossy and perfect.
Yeah.
Just one of those films that I think feels like there's no vision. Like, really, it's just...
Something's happened. Something's happened. I don't know what's... I think, like, if you compare it, it's very similar to Venom.
Yeah.
But I think you've got Tom Hardy and this weird, like,
but the thing is, the issues that Venom have, the central performance of that is the director going to Tom Hardy, do whatever you want in the scene.
Yeah.
Jared Leto has to sulk and be the most miserable main character to follow.
Yeah.
That it really makes no sense when he just tries to do some of those witty lines.
It is a bit strange, isn't it?
Because I'm like, well, you've never acted like this before in the film.
And he's kind of just like cheeky cunt. That's kind of like...
He's just, he's kind of rude, really.
Yeah.
It's not even like witty quips.
No.
Yeah, he just kind of becomes rude.
Yeah.
There's a
and here's the thing, we hate a rude character.
I mean, do we hate rude
Can't
characters?
relate. We're very nice.
Seriously, meet me in the street. I'm nice.
I'm fucking adorable.
No, it's like he can't really even sell that gag of like he puts his hand in the sunlight and he's like, ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Why are you doing that gag?
Yeah. It ends, and then we get... we stuck around for the first two post-credit scenes.
Is there a third? I think there's only two.
I think is there not an end one? Like an
no,
end
I think they just put... I think they knew people weren't going to be...
Here's the thing. For like, was it like actual Marvel ones? Are like, you're watching the whole credits.
Yeah.
These ones, Morbius, like, go. They're people were leaving the cinema as we were watching the end credit scenes because even they know, like, fuck, it's over.
I turned to you and I was like, man, it's not good that the main demographic of this film got up and left during those end credit sequences.
Yeah. It's our unpaid job to watch those. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is one of those things where I think Kevin Feige would have been told what they were doing, and he would have been like, whatever the fucking Sony wants to do, they can do. They can do that over there in their universe.
Yeah,
because it's weird, real weird, especially when a big advertisement ploy in the ads was Michael Keaton.
This is I didn't realize this. That's cruel marketing, and dare I say that's probably why the reviews are a little bit more towards the 5 than like a 5.6. Michael Keaton is not in this film.
It would have been fun for people to be like, I'm going to go see the new Michael Keaton movie. And they're like, Jared Leto, Jared Harris, Milo.
I'm going to see the new Batman movie. Your dad just like, Michael Keaton's in this one, right? Yes. And there's bats in it? Yes. So it's Batman.
I would not put it past my dad to be like, I went to go see the new Batman movies. Like, it was really weird. And I was like, you saw Morbius, didn't you? And he was like, what was I meant to see? Paul Dano was in this, right?
There was a Twilight Man in that one. There's a vampire.
He was like, it was weird. People told me it was 3 hours, but it was only an hour 40. Maybe they said it felt like 3 hours.
Because it did feel like 3 hours. Let's go for the post-credit scene. Michael Keaton is in this universe because of the Spider-Man thing.
He gets like beamed into this universe,
And then-
pops up in a cell. He somehow acquires his vulture suit.
Vulture suit from the thing of God, it's you need a fucking wall.
It's one of those hard things because he wouldn't have his suit if the Avengers didn't happen.
Yeah.
But this universe doesn't have the Avengers.
No.
So how did he make his suit? How did he get it really quickly?
Yeah.
And Jared Leto is also aware of who Spider-Man is.
And also they're happy to team up.
Yeah.
I think I heard someone say they're forming something like this
Sinister Six.
Sinister Six.
It's just weird because Morbius is an active good person in the film.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he'd be against like Spider-Man.
Yeah. I don't get it. He seems like his whole thing is like, I literally cured half the world and I don't want to spoil that.
He spent his whole time trying to save people.
Yeah.
He's not going to be like, we'll kill Spider-Man. It's weird that Sony's like, Venom, Morbius, they'll all be anti-heroes.
Yeah.
But then they want to have them fight Spider-Man. I'm like, what's the point?
What's the point?
What's the point? Oscar, who would watch Morbius?
Here's the thing. This is just I feel like this is what like your parents think a superhero film is.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You know what it is? It's definitely like the original Fantastic Four from the early 2000s. It's like those.
Yeah.
So much like those where it's like they've gotten some stars, they've gotten a budget, they've done nothing on the script, barely looked at comics, and just fucking made this.
Yeah.
It's so reminiscent of those types of movies.
It is.
That's what I think our parents think all superhero movies still are,
Yeah.
no matter the prestige or whatever they do to some of them. That if my dad was to be like, I'll give one of these new superhero movies a chance, watch this, he'd be like, they haven't fucking changed in 20 years, Carl.
Michael
I'll
Keaton's
tell you
still
that.
in these because it says a big Marvel sign, so you just would walk in and go, that's another
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know who this is for. I mean, we can see there's no one liking it. The only thing that's coming from it, though, I seems though this might be like a redemption film where people. It's kind of weird because I feel like Venom actually is the one that should be redeemed.
Yeah.
This one's kind of getting redeemed.
It feels like almost like Sony clickbait. Where they're like, we tricked you into it, but then you thought it was Marvel and it'd be good, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Ads.
I will say this. For this podcast, I love everything Sony's doing. Constantly they come out with a film. It's like we got one of the superheroes. It's going to weirdly tie into the Marvel one, but not really. People aren't going to be happy, and it's going to be a good episode.
Yeah. I think, I guess genuinely, if it's for an audience, it's for people that actually found comfort in those old bad superhero movies from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
This is it.
This
is it in droves.
If you like those really early Marvel ones, I'm thinking like Catwoman. I'm trying to think of like a good one that sort of is this. What are those 2000 ones that were kind of okay-ish?
It was like
Fantastic Four, I think, is a good one.
it's so Fantastic Four like.
Yeah.
I just think the clumsiest thing that people do now is just like, this hero is going to work out what his powers are in the vicinity of a lair. And it's just that.
Because that's the first act. Second act is kind of setting up the villain. It's a lot of setup movie, but you know this isn't going to get like a whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we got, I don't know who would watch this.
If you're after some hollow entertainment, boy, have I found the movie for you.
If you saw The Batman, went 3 hours, check out Morbius. Watch it twice.
It'd be interesting if you don't like the Batman and you don't like the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, I wonder if this is for you.
Man,
Maybe this is what you want from
Venn diagram is that? Here's the thing. The Morbius comic guys are loving this one.
I'm sure sales are through a little. They don't go to the roof.
No.
Oscar, palate cleanser?
I watched Ed Wood, which is Tim Burton's, I think, his best film. I've just watched it for the first time.
Seen Big Fish?
I haven't seen Big Fish.
Love Big Fish.
Is Big Fish really good?
Yeah. But that's also way more like Tim Burton. I think I love that movie because it's Tim Burton doing a very Tim Burton-esque thing to the absolute best, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Sorry. Continue.
No. You interrupt.
All right. There's a Big Fish.
This is it's pretty much like a biopic, but in the style of like those 1950s like horror B movies. But it's done. It's like cinematography is gorgeous, and I think it's it's pretty much what's the disaster artist, but for like one of the worst directors like in history.
Yeah, director that got to continue having a career.
No.
Did he only do one film?
He did a couple of B films, but nothing like ever famous. And I think it's good for like us because we just review bad movies.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting watching someone who's technically like the worst, sort of their life and the sort of like seeing the passion behind it. It's quite beautiful. It's very nice. And I think it gives, I feel like when we do bad movies, I love doing Morbius and the corporate ones because it's like, oh, cool. Like this was a studio's fault. Whereas like those films that like a passionate, like I feel like Tim Burton took, like you can go in a really weird direction. You can go like mean with it and go, look at the silliness of this man. And he goes, no, like he's like a genuine like genius who just couldn't make a movie, but like wanted to.
Absolutely.
And I guess just a bunch, and I don't think it does all that Tim Burton stylized stuff that he normally goes for. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a great one, especially if you like movies and making movies and talking about movies. I think it's really good.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
You've sold me on it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch Big Fish.
I freaking love Big Fish.
Love Big Fish.
God. Carl, what did you watch?
I watched X at the cinema.
The new A24 flick.
Yes, A24.
Good or bad?
Sorry. Oh, really good. Loved it. Just loved it. I just love a good slasher movie, and this is not only that in droves, but like one with tension, takes its time to get going, definitely has themes and ideas that it wants to present, and it just does them really well in an interesting way. Things that I've never really properly seen depicted in a film before. So I just really enjoyed that. It also has such a good final few minutes to help contextualize some of the things that you've seen, and you go, oh, clever.
Nice.
Just a really, really confident film. And a part of my enjoyment was also the cinema was packed. Everyone was into it. I've seen some horror movies where the cinema is so rude and shitty. Just like, I don't know, people are like bored, or they laugh at certain horror elements, or they yell at the screen. I just remember watching Annabelle Creation, and just that was like the worst cinematic movie going experience because the audience was just so terrible.
Yeah.
But this was just a collective that was into it, on the edge of its seat.
I am guilty of that. The bad Ouija, I don't know which one that is. There's two Ouijas. I went to the bad one.
Yeah.
I was laughing through the whole thing, so I did contribute to a bad cinema experience.
I mean, like, yeah, but like
Sometimes it's fun, but if you're into it, it sucks.
well, it's just like if it's also a good horror movie, like that the first Annabelle's pretty bad. The second one I quite like, and that was much better reviewed than the other one. I just remember we actually had to move seats.
Jeez.
And we started a small movement of other people all moving down to the front away from these, like...
Again, I do apologize, but I had a lot of sugar that day and I wanted to just get some energy out, okay?
Yeah, it's just nice. I think it is a shame that sometimes I think an audience can really detract from a film and it can also really make an experience at the cinema.
Yeah.
And in the case of X, great time.
Love that. Look at us.
Oscar, what are we reviewing next week?
Next week, Carl, we're doing a little cheeky little mini episode on Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
And their crimes of Grindelwald and
J.K. Rowling's great views on things. That's the subtitle of the subtitle.
That's Fantastic Beasts, and please forget about what J.K. said.
She was J.K.ing about her views.
Subtitle, shit, Ezra Miller's in this too. Oof, what a PR nightmare.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.